Jesus has been telling his disciples at this point for weeks, but in the section we're in, for several hours as he's been teaching over the last bit here, that he's going to die, but here adds that little nugget at the end of, oh yeah, by the way, it's not just going to be a good death. It's going to be the worst death. It's going to be the death that only the worst of criminals can face, the death that only the worst of the worst could possibly ever engineer a situation to have to be confronted with. He would be crucified. And it's important that we kind of begin to think about this. Again, our task here is to contemplate the beauty of the Lord Jesus. This is not the statement of a reactionary who's getting outmaneuvered by his opponent. Right? This is not the statement of a man who's in the middle of a chess game and has observed that his opponent is a better player. And is like, oh no, I'm going to end up losing this, I can already tell. That's not what this statement is from the Lord Jesus. This is a statement of his battle plan. This is an explanation of his victory to his disciples. This is an explanation of the events that he himself is ordering. This is information given to them so that they will marvel over the next several days and weeks and months and years. So that some of them, when they themselves are crucified, would be able to remember, he told me this is how he would go. And I can go this way as well. It's important that we kind of even beginning here contemplate the wisdom of Christ, the magnificence, and the power. I love to think about this. I'll be honest, growing up in the church, I slipped into that faulty way of thinking to think that Christ was in some ways the victim only. And certainly he was. They murdered him. But he was the commander of the armies of the Lord with a perfect battle plan being implemented perfectly. Nothing able to frustrate it. This is a statement of victory even now that he's making to his disciples, though they themselves would not be able to understand it. Matthew is a master storyteller in how he frames this chapter. It really, in many ways, it reads very much like a movie we would think of today. Giving the commander-in-chief the opportunity to describe his agenda, his game plan for winning the war. What is his battle tactic? Well, it will be to go to the cross in just a matter of days in the middle of the Passover. Which is a pretty amazing thing because you don't exactly... how to say this, it would not have been necessarily easy to get yourself crucified. Crucifixion, as I said, was only reserved for the worst of the worst. You would either have to be exceedingly wronged or do a lot of horrible things to be crucified, but to control the timing of it would have been even more mystifying. Much less to be crucified by the Jews. They didn't even have that power. The statement that he's saying here is so unbearably complicated in its execution, I don't even think the disciples would have been able to fully appreciate it. How could a man know or control his own death in such a way? I mean, most of us, we've already learned in some form or fashion that death is one of the very few things in life that is so abundantly clear we have no control over. We can't influence it. Can't stop it from happening, yet the Lord is in charge over it, the Lord Christ.